Virginity is quite a weighted topic for many South Africans. Joining me in studio is our sex columnist, Dorothy Black. She wants to know if virginity is even a thing anymore. Dorothy?
Well, has it ever been a thing?
I don't
What
know.
is virginity? So is it like the tiny little skin that half covers the entrance to the vagina? Is that virginity? Because anything can break that.
It's true, and most people's break and they don't even know about it.
Correct. Is it penetrative sex? Because then we're assuming that only men and women have sex. And what happens with people who engage in oral sex and anal sex and mutual masturbation? Is that not sex? So you can do all of that and still be a virgin if you haven't had penile vaginal sex?
I've never actually thought about these things. You pose some very good questions.
Of course I do. These are big questions. The thing is that the idea of virginity has been like hugely weighted in culture and religion, and most of that burden to kind of keep the sanctity of the body has been on the woman. And a woman has had very little control over her own body and what that means for her community and her family and her status and her marriageable, capabilities. But if you kind of come back down to, and you take it out of the heteronormative sphere and go like, well, what is virginity? Is it a physical thing? Because it's not really. Is it a conceptual thing? Well, what does that mean for everyone? Is virginity a thing? And I don't think it actually is.
So you don't think virginity is a thing?
I think it's a conceptual thing, but I don't think it's actually a thing.
So is it something to be lost?
No. Oh, what are you going to lose?
I don't know.
What are you losing? A tiny little piece of skin? Are you gaining experience? Are you gaining intimacy? At what point is sex, and at what point is engaging in a sexual act with someone losing your virginity, your innocence, your idea of like togetherness, foreverness? What is virginity? And I think when people start really questioning the idea of virginity and what that means for their bodies and for the bodies of the women around them, then we can start looking at what that means for whether you should be losing your virginity or giving it away, or any one of those like very culturally loaded ideas of a woman's body and her virginity.
Now, does this ring true for men as well?
I don't think it rings true for them in the same way. I think there's a lot of social pressure that goes along with virginity and men breaking or losing their virginity, but I don't think they struggle with the same ideas and the cultural pressures or the religious pressures that is on them to maintain or keep their lily white's virginal status.
Now, what about the people who have these pressures put on them? What are they supposed to do in these situations? How do they explore their sexuality?
Yeah. I think it would be disingenuous to say that it is only about you and it's only about your choice. I would love to say that is the only factor involved here, but we're all influenced by our families, by our religion, by our culture, and so it becomes a very personal choice about where you take a stand. A lot of women in South Africa don't have a choice about when they lose their virginity or how they lose their virginity, and so if you're in the position to be sexually self-empowered and to make that choice for yourself, then it becomes a personal choice to decide how much you take your peer pressure on board, and that's not really something anybody can dictate to you. It'd be great if we could, but we can't. So how you deal with that peer pressure would be the same way you deal with the peer pressure if somebody asks you to jump off, the thing that your parents tell you. If your friends tell you to jump off a bridge, will you jump off a bridge? Well, it's kind of back down to that. If you don't want to do it, how far are you going to go ahead with peer pressure, whether it's drinking, smoking, drugs, sex, jumping off the bridge?
On that note, when is the right time to have sex?
Whenever you feel it is the right time to have sex. When you are comfortable with where you are, if you feel it is the right time, if you have the capacity and the capability and the context to choose when to have sex for yourself, then you do that when you are ready for it. I think a lot of people feel that the longer they wait, the more pressure, the more self-pressure there is to actually get it over and done with. When I had sex for the first time, I literally did it to get it over and done with because I was so tired of being the only one who hadn't had sex yet. But that was my choice, and I went through with it the way I wanted to go through with it. And so I think if you're in the position to make the choice, you do it when you're ready.